Welcome again to our fourth episode of the Campus Life Podcast. I'm Daryn,
I'm Canvas.
and we are so excited that you guys joined us again. So, thanks for listening. Today, we're talking about something that does affect us all, really does affect us all, and that is sadness. And I know that I have been affected by sadness. Canvas has definitely been affected by sadness. And so, but what are some things that you think that make people sad?
I think it's just definitely one thing I'd say like makes me sad is just seeing other people sad around me, like and
Oh,
like
yeah.
especially people you care about.
Yeah.
That's definitely like one of the biggest things. Because like if you see somebody that like you care for like down in the ditches, you're gonna go down there too,
Yeah.
and like just see them where they're at. But then also what makes me very sad is losing at Fortnite because that game is stupid and kids play it too much, so I can't get good at it.
Oh man, what about the Saints? Did they make you sad this year?
The Saints made me so happy for 2 games. I was like, oh, who dat? But then now it's just, oh, let's get good drafts.
Yeah, yeah, I know. Like high schoolers, middle schoolers deal with a lot of sadness, sadness about a lot of things. I mean, there's so much going on, right? And so it could be sadness about not doing well in sports, a sports team, and maybe you didn't make it, in Williston here to WDA, or you didn't make it to state. Those things are tough at times. Maybe you didn't get selected as player of the game when you played really, really well, or maybe you didn't do well on a test, and that test counted for a lot of your grade, and that's tough. That makes you sad. I know I definitely had some of those sad things when I was in school. I was sad I didn't play well in golf. I played golf in high school and ended up not making the varsity team for a couple of years, and that made me sad because I thought I was pretty good, but turns out I wasn't as good as I thought. And so yeah, things can definitely make you sad, and it's real. Sadness is real, and so it can be tough. But I know for me, a time when I was sad here, it's been a while ago now, but was when my dad died. I went through a difficult time. There was a lot of sadness in that, and I would even say in that I didn't deal with my sadness probably in that all that well. I had kind of a big responsibility and big job to do at the time, and I just kind of pushed myself back into that job and those responsibilities, and kind of ignored some of the sadness that was going on there. Um, how how are some ways that you've dealt with sadness, maybe in a healthy way?
I'd say like probably the healthiest way that I dealt with sadness was opening up to my friends that were around me.
Yeah,
That was probably one of the biggest supports. But then also just like starting a journal where like you just write down your emotions because then it is kind of like talking to a person, but you're just like writing it down because then you're still expressing it instead of letting it pent up.
yeah. No,
So
that's good. Yeah, that's really good. Maybe I should do that. Write
it
some
it,
things down.
it works.
Yeah, helps a
Yeah.
lot. I need to get better at journaling. By the way, I'm terrible at
Oh,
journaling.
same here. I used to
Yeah.
be so good, so
Really?
good. Yeah, like yeah, but then it just all fell apart because life happened, and then
Yeah.
I got
Yeah.
out of journaling. So I need to definitely get back into it. But there are definitely some moments in my life which like writing it down and like just expressing how I felt, and then like it really helped me out. But then also like sadness, if you're really feeling sad, you can always open it up to God too,
Yeah.
because He wants to meet you in your sadness wherever you're at.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's good. You mentioned talking to somebody. I think,
Mhm.
for me, I really like to, if I'm being sad, I like to talk with people. I like somebody to be there and listen. And also to, exercise sometimes helps.
Mhm.
And so going for a run or going to the gym and, lifting or, whatever, sometimes that really helps too. How have you tried to help someone when they're sad?
Definitely like just kind of like talking to them and like talking about their problem and like not don't like go at it as like I'm trying to fix what you're doing,
Yeah.
but instead come at it like I just want to come alongside you and I want to know that you're heard and that you're loved and like this is like it's making you sad, but you will get through this and you want to come alongside them to get through it together. How about you? How have you helped people who are dealing with sadness?
Yeah, yeah. When I help people that are sad, that is the big thing. Is I just I'm just there and I'm there to listen.
Mhm.
I'm not trying to necessarily help them out of their sadness. I mean, naturally, by nature, a lot of guys are kind of fixers and they want to fix
Mhm.
people's problems. But I know that when I'm really helping somebody that sad, the best thing that I can do is just show up and listen to them. Um, what do you think you need when you're sad?
I definitely think like just having that emotional support of like
Yeah.
people who are like care about me, be around me, and then also like doing an activity that kind of gets my mind off of it, but
Mhm.
not like I'm like shoving it down, but like doing something alternative. Like me and my friends, we might like hop on video games and just play video games and talk, and like that connection with other people, I think helps me the most. What about you?
Yeah, I think, for me, I really like motorcycle riding like you.
Yeah.
And so it's nice because, while you're riding, you're not only outside and you're enjoying that experience, but you're also able to process what
Mhm.
you're going through. And so I know for me, motorcycle riding has really helped kind of clear my head in sad situations
Mhm.
or difficult situations. And so that's one thing that's really helpful. Going for a run, I'm running, sure, I'm being active, being outside, but also I'm just able to process while I'm doing it. So if I can be active and be able to process things while I'm being active, that's one thing that really helps. And honestly, prayer,
Mhm.
when I can take my sadness and what I'm going through, when I can take that to Jesus, it really provides a lot of strength. Jesus gives a lot of strength in those situations. But you want to describe a time when you've been really sad?
Definitely, probably one of the saddest moments like in my life was when one of my friends had passed away. So we were
Yeah.
neighbors, and I heard like the ambulance outside, and then I'm like, oh, what's that? I should like get out and look, like that gut feeling. And then he lived like a block away, so then I got out of my house and I saw the ambulance driving there. I was like, okay. So then like I just followed it, and then like I saw him get pulled out like on a stretcher,
Wow.
and like just seeing that it broke me down. Like I remember
Yeah.
running like to my house and like locking myself in the bathroom and just like crying about it for hours, like seeing that.
Wow.
And then a couple months later, another one of my friends had passed away in a car accident. So just like
Hmm.
in that
Wow.
short amount of time, like losing two people who were pretty close to me, definitely was one of like the saddest moments. But then like out of that, I had a lot of people come around me who were like really close friends, even like to today. And this was like, oh man, I'm so old. Oh my gosh, this is like 7 years ago.
Yeah.
But like just having like that close friendship with people and like having them come alongside you and support you through that, and like it really just helped me out a lot.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. And that was a big season of sadness for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough. And maybe you've lost a friend that's close to you, and you're kind of going through that season. It's important for you to know, y- like Canvas, he's been through those things. You can reach out to him.
Hmm.
He'll listen. And so, yeah, you know, it's kind of crazy when we look at the Bible because there's a time when we learn that Jesus was sad, and it's actually the shortest verse in the Bible.
It's my
John,
favorite verse in the Bible.
yeah, super easy to memorize, right? So
Exactly.
John 11:35, it says Jesus wept. That's literally the entire verse. And what's crazy about that situation, what we find out is Jesus is really sad over losing one of his really good friends, Lazarus.
Hmm.
He died. And he wanted to go and see Lazarus while he was sick, but and people went to him and asked him to come, but he got held up in a situation, so he wasn't able to come right away. And by the time he got to Lazarus, Lazarus had already been dead for 4 days,
Hmm.
and people were standing around weeping. His sisters were Lazarus's sisters, Mary and Martha, were they came to Jesus. They were very sad, and so Jesus encounters this situation with people all around him who are very sad over Lazarus's weeping, and Jesus feels that emotion and he weeps with them. He wept right along with them, and it's kind of a crazy story that we see where Jesus is just showing a lot of emotion and a
Hmm.
lot of raw emotion, because what we find out later is Jesus does something pretty incredible in those moments. Lazarus is in a tomb. His body is in a tomb, and the stone is rolled over it. And Jesus goes to that tomb, and he tells the people to roll the tombstone away. And they're like, Jesus, we're not sure this is a good idea. His body probably stinks by now because it's decomposing. And he's like, no, it's all right. Just do it. And so they did. They rolled the stone away. And Jesus, the Bible describes it as almost like anger. In anger, almost, is not really super angry, but like in anger, shouts out, Lazarus, come out. And Lazarus comes out of the tomb, like rises from the dead after being dead for 4 days. And it's just a cool story because what was all of this mourning and weeping and stuff going on, it turns out to be kind of a celebration. And I think that's just a really good picture of what Jesus wants to do with our sadness. He wants to kind of help bring us out of our sadness. That, not that in like terrible situations where your friend died, where you're not going to continue to be sad about that, or my dad dying, I'll be sad about that. But Jesus wants us to remember the good things about him and those people, and he'll turn those times of sadness into celebrating, and even like celebrating their lives and who they were to us. So yeah.
So
We've got some stuff in front of us.
We do have stuff in front of us. So a friend once told me this really cool illustration. I just want to share it with you guys. So we all have this emotional bucket like in us, and whenever like it's full with every kind of emotion like we haven't processed yet. So for an example, like we got into a fight with our mom before school, we can pour some water in. And then another example is we're just afraid that like we failed a test and like what's gonna happen because of that. So we can pour some more water in. Or our friends this weekend, they ditched us and didn't want to hang out with us, so we can pour some sadness into that.
That might be a lot of water, actually.
And then also our parents, they might have got divorced in 3rd grade, and we've always clinged on to that. Yeah. And it's just something that we never really processed, so we can add more water from that.
That's tough. That's a lot of water. That might actually fill the bucket there. And so the bucket's full. So then what do we do?
So when this bucket's full and we don't have like any way to process it, if more stuff gets added, the bucket will overburst. And these are where we had these emotional outbreaks from, where we start yelling at people we don't want to yell to. We just start crying randomly for any reason. So it just starts to really affect us. But if we really start to process these emotions and get to the core of it, then we can start seeing that the water will get taken out. So if we go talk to our parents about the divorce and say this is how it affected me, and it's like, I just want to open up and talk to you guys about it, it starts to take water out of the bucket. And then, or we think about that test that we just failed, we can study more for the next upcoming test. And like, instead of just dwelling on it, we can do something about it. Or if our friends ditched us and they don't want to hang out with us this weekend, talk to them, arrange something else. And if they don't want to do it some other weekend, and find new people to hang out with, you know?
Yeah.
But like, just in that, Jesus, he's taking time to like empty his bucket of sadness with the people about the Lazarus story.
Yeah.
So we'd invite you guys to really focus on like, what are the things in us that we're holding on to, things that we haven't fully gotten over. And if there is anything that's coming to your mind, like we offer, like we can talk to you guys about it, but the best thing to do is open it up to Jesus and talk to him about it, because ultimately he's going to be the best thing to get you either out of that sadness, that anger, that loneliness. As long as you like just opening up to him, that's where like you can really find how to get past it.
Yeah. And I think knowing too, when we look at that story, just knowing that Jesus wants to be with us in our sadness, you know, he just wants to be with you in that. And in that, he is going to give you the strength to kind of work through that. And he's going to give you, the strength to do that. But in that, he's also going, we need to put our trust in him. And when we put our trust in him, then that's when he really starts helping us to get over that sadness or deal with that sadness in good ways, positive ways, healthy ways. And so, Yeah,
and then just one thing that I'd like to leave you guys with is that our sadness, it needs to be felt and it deserves to be felt. and also you guys deserve to empty your bucket.
Yeah. Yeah. So thank you for joining us again. Next week, we're really excited because we get to kind of wrap up what we've been talking about with these emotions, because what we find out is that Jesus takes all of these different emotions that we feel when we trust in him, and he turns it into something pretty incredible, and that's joy.
Well, we'll see you guys for episode 5 of Joy.